So last year the ceremony went a little long, so I tried to think about ways we could make it shorter. And we wanted some outside people to speak. I talked with the ASB and the senior leaders, and they asked that Bob Wilson speak. And so I had him replace me as a speaker. But I did want to mention a few things about this class. And you can get into trouble doing this because when you mention some people, that means you don't mention everybody. But I did want to honor a few of their accomplishments. So there are 17 counties in Northern California, and there was only one National Merit Scholar. And not only was she the only finalist, and not only was she the only winner, she won the highest amount that the National Merit Scholars win. So, Kate Tickle. And I had to figure out the sports thing. It was a little hard. So we competed in 17 sports. We won 8 league championships in boys swim, boys cross country, girls cross country, football, girls tennis, boys basketball, and golf. Now, we only compete in 17 sports, so that was 8. So start doing the math. We finished second in 6 sports. Boys track, girls track, volleyball, we should have beat Corning, wrestling, girls soccer, and boys soccer. So in 14 out of 17 sports, we finished first or second. Give it up for these guys. Out of 18 high schools in the county, these students had the second highest test scores on state testing in math and third in English language arts. Athletic and smart. We have beauty queens, rodeo champions, yo-yo world champions, and much, much more. So I decided fairly early that I would respond to all emails, for the most part. If people wanted to donate or a Boy Scout troop wanted to send us letters or whatever it was, I would try and respond to emails. So I got one email on November 15th I think that was a low point for everybody. That was the Thursday after the fire. It was a really low point for me, for my family, and PHS. The subject line read, "Help for Paradise High School." My name is Bob Wilson, and I live in a place called Rancho Santa Fe, which is in the San Diego area. My heart goes out to you, your family, students, and residents of Paradise for the loss you have all sustained as a result of the recent fire. Your name appeared in an article about your high school in this morning's Los Angeles Times. My purpose in contacting you is an effort to help your school and/or its families in a financial way. It is not my intent to trivialize such a contribution as it would be substantial. I have difficulty in channeling a contribution through agencies, as I would also want to know how it could be used. I have no question that you are a busy man and an immediate response is not necessary. However, in the next day or two or early next week, if you could give me a call or contact me at my email address, I have no doubt we would be able to satisfy your needs and my desires. I await your reply. In the meantime, I trust you and your family are hopefully as comfortable as housed as possible and above all safe. So I'm thinking, oh, great, another crackpot, right? So we invited him to the graduation ceremony, and I really wanted Michelle to do it, and she did. So she said, Bob replied, "If I hadn't received your invitation to attend the Paradise High School graduation, I probably would have invited myself." Bob Wilson.
Principal Nighthall just gave my speech. But how nice it is to be with you this evening. What a marvelous evening. And a continuation of that heartfelt welcome that I received from all of you on a rainy Tuesday in Chico, California. Seniors, this is your night. You are the ones to be commended for staying the course despite the adversity that overtook your community. This also begins a new chapter in your lives, and it will ultimately define your career. Now, I'm going to depart from my prepared remarks to tell you what prompted me to do what I did. I'm sure you may be interested. As Lauren said, it came about as a result of an article I read in the Los Angeles Times. And the article indicated that you wouldn't be going back to your school, that your football team couldn't complete their season, that they didn't know what would be going on as a result of what happened here in early November. High school was golden for me. I played football. I was captain of the track team. I engaged in the student affairs. I went to all the parties. I went to the dances. And I even went to class. So I thought, how can I raise their spirits? How can I put a smile on their face? And I came up on the idea of writing a check. And it was my privilege to be able to give those checks out, as I say, on that rainy night in Chico. Now, finally, let me say, there's a great wide world of opportunity which awaits each one of you. You should seize that opportunity and again the happiness that will go with it because of the choice you will make. I'll always remember you here in Paradise, and thank you.
Bob's a great man. We did some media rounds together for several hours on the day he gave out the checks, and it is very easy to see why he is successful. He is relentlessly positive and loves people and life. We will now hear from our senior class president, Garrett Malcolm. We have a monthly video broadcast, and in it, some students were asked what advice they would give the seniors, to which Garrett replied, I see you. If you're going to do something wrong, don't get caught. Come on. In seriousness, Garrett has done a lot of work in helping organize the senior picnic, the senior breakfast, and other numerous activities. Garrett Malcolm.
All right. Paradise was never defined by the buildings to me, not the homes, schools, businesses, the river, or the trucks. To me, it was about the feeling of a unified small community. I've lived in paradise my whole life, moving house to house and school to school. I've experienced the good, the bad, and the ugly that it had to offer. Over time, I've realized that there's no other place I'd want to grow up in. Walking through the dimly lit streets in the middle of the night, climbing down a whole canyon just to get to the best jumping spots, exploring out in the woods, and making my mom wish she didn't buy me white clothes. Although there are hundreds of words I could use to describe paradise, I will try to wrap it up in one: strength. For some of us, strength came from the things we did that made us tough. The football players had the practice field, for example. That middle field has been described as a mix of the Mojave Desert and a rock quarry. They would sprint full speed and fall full speed on this brutal and sketchy field. Most of them would get up missing some skin and a nasty cut filled with dirt and keep going. That's toughness. True dedication being prioritized over pain. Some of us grew up poor, seeing our parents struggle to keep our houses or put food on the table, being forced to work as soon as possible so you could afford to go to school. That's the kind of life that forces you to mature and understand the way of life. That's strength, fighting the urge to sit down and wait for something to come to you. That's why we stayed resilient after the fire. We weren't raised to be quitters, to just give up when times get tough. Even after we all lost our homes, we still found the time and positivity to get together and pretend like 2 days before, the campfire hadn't ripped through our town. Some might not know what true country living is, but I know for a fact that our little community experienced it one way or another. Whether that is going out into the wilderness to bonfires, or driving up north and getting stuck in the mud, or just simply doing stupid stuff you couldn't do in the city. That's not what makes you country, though. Country isn't about packing dips or wearing boots or driving a truck. Country is about the state of mind where you put your family and friends before you, being willing to protect them against anything that would try to hurt them. It's about the unity of a small town. Our community's strength comes from many things, but here at PHS, it comes from unity. In some schools, the only people that get to know everyone are the popular kids that all the mindless students look up to. Our school is different. We have all known each other since we were in elementary school, or even before, and we've seen each other grow up over that time together. We walk through the halls recognizing just about everyone around us, or now just the areas between dividers at the fortress. That's one of the main things I'll miss about my hometown, the feeling that no matter where I looked, I saw someone I knew. The unity of our community comes from a lifetime of experiences with each other, not the physical town. The fire could burn just about every physical object under the sun, but it couldn't touch the connections we have built over that lifetime. It couldn't change anything where we moved or went to school. All of us here just wanted to stick together and finish our senior year together, and that means something to me. Look, we're not stupid. We all here know that 2, 5, maybe 10 years down the road, 90% of us will be living lives that are completely separated from each fellow classmate. We will have new careers, new towns, maybe a new family. That is just the reality of life. Nothing lasts forever. But I also know that because of the place we've been raised in and the people we have grown up with, we will always carry the name and spirit of paradise with us, not because of its death, but because of its life and what it stood for. Thank you.
Next up, is one of our valedictorians, Nate Dailey. Nate is the Masons Student of the Year and is also the Student of the Year as voted on by his peers. I tried to run a campaign for Lance, but he didn't get any votes. He was the king at prom, and he is 6th in the world at yo-yoing. Like Michael Jordan has his own shoe, Nate has his own yo-yo, the ND Ultra. Back before the fire, when we had daily video broadcasts, Nate was a very popular anchor, and I think you're about to hear his tagline, Nate Dailey.
Please excuse the interruption. What is up, Bobcats? What is up? These last 4 years at Paradise High School have been absolutely amazing. Throughout my time here, it has certainly become a home to me. Many of us have known each other as long as we can remember, and through its people, PHS has shown what it means to have a strong community. PHS is a truly special place, and this class is like no other. A couple months into senior year, PHS was my favorite place to be. Every moment was a good one, and life seemed absolutely perfect. It was all so smooth. And then the campfire struck. You already know the details. Absolute tragedy beyond anything we could have imagined. I couldn't believe it happened to us. People scattered, and no one had any idea what the future would hold. What I wanted most was PHS back. And despite a crazy, unpredictable year, in the end, that's exactly what we got. Because PHS isn't a place, it's a collection of people. For a couple months, we had a home base for online learning at the Chico Mall. We called it Mall School. Right away, teachers, staff, and administration were so committed to helping the students. Not only were they able to keep up with curriculum, they also provided assistance for college applications and were there for all-around support, even collecting clothes and food for students. AP classes met in Chico State classrooms. It was amazing to see each other, sharing evacuation stories, talking about crazy living situations, and just seeing the faces of friends felt amazing after all that we had been through. PHS was alive, and it had our back. Next, we moved to an office building next to the Chico Airport at 1000 Fortress Street, or as we now know it, the Fortress. It's been so makeshift, and I absolutely love it. It was nowhere near ideal, but it worked, and we made it work in style. PHS took creativity to a whole new level. We brought in 6-foot dividers to separate classes. We brought in whiteboards. We brought in technology. We brought the hustle. Mr. Veliconia remade all of his burned notes. Mrs. Safrick set up tons of computers. Mrs. Partain made her room into a hippie tent. Teachers tackled the challenge of rotating classrooms and going without materials that were stuck at campus. Against these challenges, multiple months of lost instruction were made up at an incredible pace. The Fortress is effective and successful, but more importantly, it has personality. It still has the teachers, staff, and energy we love so much, and the new location has only infused it with a new energy all its own. The leadership class covered the walls with posters, making the whole building ooze school spirit. We received letters from all over the world in an outpouring of support for PHS and its students. The hallways are tight, but the proximity is unifying. Classes are in a legit warehouse. I can see a parked airplane out the window of my English class. It's actually such a cool place to be. And standing behind it all, a monument declares the academic successes of our senior class despite the tremendous adversity we've faced. A whiteboard covered in college acceptances. While impressive alone, this is not nearly all that the class of 2019 achieved. This class won a league in 8 out of 17 sports. This class made it to state for the 4x4 in track. This class has computer wizards, art gods, and musical geniuses. This class had 6 kids get accepted into UC Berkeley. This class started a cabbage club. This class has 7 valedictorians and 3 salutatorians. We didn't just crawl across the finish line bloody and broken. We exploded through it and exceeded all expectations. But we couldn't have accomplished it without an indestructible support team behind us. The families, teachers, staff, and administration have supported us every step of the way in order to make this place so special despite their own personal struggles, such as looking for apartments, digging through ash, driving a 2-hour commute, and living in trailers and cars. And of course, the outpouring of support from the community has been absolutely wonderful. We've received so much help along the way, and we can't thank all of you enough. Against the odds, PHS has made it and remains such a home to me, no matter where it is geographically, because it's more than a set of buildings. It's a collection of individuals, a family, and as members of that family, we will always carry a piece of PHS with us, a memory of where we came from and what we overcame as we take off on our next great adventures.
Our last student speaker is Jared MacKay. Jared is one of our salutatorians and also the male athlete of the year along with Jacob Weldon. Jared and I attend the same church, and when we visited Paradise before I was hired, we met Jared. I was really concerned about my son, who would be a junior in a school with no friends. I had to get used to that again, everybody. Jared went out. He said, just like you. Jared went out of his way to introduce him around, and they became great friends. So I have a special place in my heart for Jared and his kindness to Lance and my family. Jared MacKay. So make sure you speak right into the mic.
All right, what's up, everybody? So, some of you might be wondering why I'm giving a speech. For those of you who don't know what a salutatorian is, it's the person who ranks second in the graduating class. Why does second place get to give a grad speech? Yeah, that's a good question. I actually have no idea. After countless hours of studying and homework, we have all grown to know and love the word learning. Am I right? We all love that word. Learning means knowledge acquired through being taught and studying, or through experience. Now that we are sitting here about to get our diplomas, some of us may be debating how much we have actually learned over these last 4 years. Because when I look back, I don't remember electron configuration or uniform circular motion. Most of my memories don't revolve around things related to the acquiring of knowledge and studying part of learning. We question how much we have learned because often forget the second, yet equally important part of the definition, which is experience. Don't get me wrong, education is very important, but learning is an accumulation of education and life experiences. And when I look back, I remember experiences first and foremost. I think of playing hacky sack in the PHS hallways. I think of cliff jumping and swimming along the Paradise Flumes. I think of listening to La Bicicleta on repeat in Senora Nahra's class. Or having to steal a cactus from my neighbor for a Spanish project. I think of trying to use the good bathroom at PHS whenever I could. I remember learning how to be an aggressive driver while trying to survive pulling out of the high school parking lot, along with 8 people in a 4-seater car to get to lunch. Yeah, sorry, Sheriff Honea. I also remember at every single school event wishing Rachel Warren a happy birthday. And speaking of which, if you see her today, please wish her a happy birthday. I remember that one broken speaker outside Mrs. Churchill's class that reminded me to get to class on time by playing Gangnam Style every day at exactly 250 decibels. I remember staying after class in Bullocks 3 times a week. I remember Principal Whitehall, the first time I met him and he saw me, he said, you don't look very academic. I guess I get the last laugh, Mr. Lighthall. I like to tease Lighthall, but on a more serious note, I want to thank Lighthall because I personally think he's the best principal we've ever had. In the beginning of our high school experience, the first 2 years, we went through a bunch of different principals, and Lighthall was the first one, and he stayed with us, and he always wore green and gold around town, and he just bled Paradise spirit, and he supported us in so many ways, and I think he helped turn around the high school for the better. We appreciate everything you've done for the high school, Principal Lighthall. Please give him one more round of applause. So this year we have had some very unconventional experiences that none of us expected or wanted. Many of us had to grow up overnight. We have all had to learn hard lessons from circumstances that were completely out of our control. These experiences, happy or sad, good and bad, add to the wealth of knowledge that we have and will accumulate throughout our lives. In the wake of these experiences, people have referred to us as Paradise Strong, but this quality was never created by the fire. We have always been Paradise Strong. To me, Paradise Strong means helping others and exceeding expectations, doing your best with what you've got, and then some. People have said that our school wasn't perfect. Muddy, grassless fields during athletic competitions that never stopped our sports teams from trying as hard as they possibly could. Sometimes we had limited resources, but our staff and teachers still worked tirelessly every day to prepare us for college, and they did an incredible job. Thank you. I give them a round of applause. Even with the fire, we have won multiple league titles, broken school records, and have had incredible college acceptance rate. We don't need ideal or perfect circumstances to be successful. Because Paradise Strong means creating the best circumstances as a community, even if they come from very little. Challenges and hard times are sure to come. They are inevitable. But being who we are, I'm confident that we will continue to be Paradise Strong, taking those challenges and turning them into learning experiences. But there are also so many amazing, fun experiences in store for us. More celebrations of success and life, like what we are experiencing tonight. Although it is hard to say goodbye and close this chapter of our experiences, This is really just the beginning, and we are opening the door to a whole new set of incredible moments and memories. No matter where our students and staff go after this year, whether it's moving to a different state, attending a college or trade school, serving our country, starting an occupation, we will all carry Paradise strong with us. Because in Paradise, we have had amazing experiences. In Paradise, we embrace challenges and use them to help us grow. The fire hasn't stopped us because in Paradise, we are fueled with fire. Thank you.
Okay, the final speaker is normally the Teacher of the Year as voted by the students. The ASB decided to invite a special speaker for this year's event, but I did want to acknowledge our Teacher of the Year this year, as voted by the students, Virginia Partain. So the next speaker is Sheriff Honea, and Senator Nielsen, is he here? You want to come up for a second? But first, I've had some great interactions with Sheriff Honea at the Rotary and the Silver Dollar Fair dinner, and I ran into him in Chico, and he's very affable and great. Senator Nielsen's going to give a very short introduction after I give my memes. Superman and Sheriff Honea got into a fight, and the winner had to wear his underwear on the outside of his pants. The boogeyman looks for Sheriff Honea under his bed. When Sheriff Honea left his house for college, he told his dad, "You're the man of the house now." "Sheriff, how many push-ups can you do?" "All of them."
Graduates and Paradise students, family, all Paradise strong. It is a great honor to introduce your speaker here tonight. Truly a great man. I often speak of the splendid loneliness of leadership. And this man, is the epitome of that splendid loneliness. He has stewarded us through two of the greatest tragedies that could have been. One was the fire, one was near to be the spillway. And I remember the one night the spillway was on the verge of breaking. And I was talking to Kory on the phone at 11 o'clock at night. And he said, I'm not sure what to do, Jim. I'm getting mixed signals from the department. I said, Kory, here's the deal. You make your call. I trust your judgment so that I won't be behind you. I won't be beside you. I'll be in front of you, running interference. He made that call to evacuate 188,000 people. It was the right call. And then comes the fire. I don't think any sheriff, that my knowledge in California, has ever faced such challenges of such magnitude. And he is a man who cares about all of us. He commented to me how ironic it was that as he was deploying all the forces under his command to protect us, he was ordering those same forces under his command into harm's way. That really hit home of the challenge that this man has faced for us. Your speaker tonight is our sheriff. But ladies and gentlemen, he is also America's sheriff. Kory Honea.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Senator Nielsen, I always appreciate it when you introduce me. Very, very kind words. I have to tell you, this is a huge honor for me to be here tonight to speak to you guys. I'm going to offer a few comments. And I'm going to make them brief because I really know what you wanted to do is get up here and get these diplomas, right? I'll admit that being here tonight takes me back to when I graduated 30 years ago. For you, that must seem like a long, long time. For a lot of you, you realize it's not that long at all. I remember the sense of accomplishment and the mixed emotions brought about by the prospect of a future filled with possibility and, of course, uncertainty. Throughout this country, thousands upon thousands of high school seniors are graduating this year. But I would dare to say that almost none of them have experienced what this class has experienced. The fact that we are here tonight to celebrate this milestone is a miracle. Because you survived one of the most destructive wildfires in our nation's history. The Camp Fire touched everyone and everything in this community. It left nothing as it found it. It left us a different people. You are the first generation of Paradise High School graduates to rise from the ashes of what life was and take a bold step forward into a new and uncertain future. My hope is that you never view your challenges as disadvantages. Instead, it's important for you to understand that your experience in overcoming adversity is actually one of your biggest advantages. The future is what you make of it. There will be more struggles ahead, but with what you've been through, you have what it takes to persevere. It's been said, the finest steel has to go through the hottest fire. And you have all been through the fire. In our history, the greatest strides forward have always been made by people who have suffered and chosen to stand up and push forward. You as a group, perhaps more than any other, will define and give real meaning to the phrase, Paradise Strong. No matter what your next steps will be, draw upon the strength that only comes by going through adversity. Move forward with purpose and show the world that you are capable and that you are strong, that you are Paradise Strong. Thank you all. Congratulations and good luck.